The 102-year-old Rose Bowl Stadium from Pasadena, California will get a much-needed facelift. We're not talking about changing the actual stadium. The $18 million refurbishment will improve the look and the fan experience inside the stadium. Divided into two phases, Phase 1 will be completed by 2026, just in time for the 2028 Olympic Games, and Phase 2 will begin shortly after. But this might be one of the toughest refurbishment projects in stadium history. So let's discuss why in today's episode of Built Up. For the past 102 years, the Rose Bowl Stadium has stood proudly in Pasadena, California, just 10 miles or 16 kilometers from the City of Angels. Since it opened in October 1922, the stadium has seen very few renovation attempts and has remained relatively the same. That's one of the reasons the stadium is now considered a National Historic Landmark, as well as a California Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. It's currently the 16th largest stadium in the entire world, with a seating capacity of 80,702 people. In the US, it's the 11th largest stadium. Most people know it as a college football venue, which has become popular for the Rose Bowl game. And starting in 1982, this stadium has been the home of the UCLA Bruins football team. Over the years, a total of 5 Super Bowls have been played in this stadium, and it's even served as the host of some monumental soccer matches, like the 1994 FIFA World Cup Final, the 1984 Olympic Soccer Gold Medal match, and many others. They've even hosted 2 Olympic Games so far, and have been the go-to stadium for giant concerts. As the decades rolled by, the Rose Bowl has become an integral part of Pasadena life. It's owned by the city of Pasadena itself, plus the stadium is owned and operated by a non-profit organization called the Rose Bowl Operating Company. As a monument from the people, for the people, changing this stadium is a big red flag. Now, any renovation attempts, replacement of parts, and God forbid teardowns have been met with vehement opposition and criticism. That's probably why the Rose Bowl sign has remained the same for the past 75 years. However, all that might change in the near future as the USA prepares for the 2028 Olympic Games. Now, before we tell you how Pasadena plans to refurbish the stadium, please don't forget to subscribe if you like the video so far. The big green Rose Bowl letters written beneath the red rose on the gates of the stadium were first put up in the 1950s. Since then, they've never been changed. They've been repaired and patched up, but never fully replaced. That's one word you don't want to say about the Rose Bowl. So instead of replacing this tired-looking sign, the city of Pasadena have agreed to spend between $300,000 and $400,000 to freshen up the original sign, improve the lighting and the internal electrical components. The refurbishment was completed in October 2024, breathing new life into the sign. Now, when UCLA is playing there, the words are blue and gold. When the Dodgers play, the sign is blue, and it can even be pink for cancer awareness. Operators can now change the colours at will, which is much better than having a flickering R letter in the middle of a game. So instead of looking for electricians right before the game or on a holiday, the sign will no longer be a problem. But this is only a fraction of the total cost of the project. The total cost of the refurbishment is estimated to be around $80 million, and it'll be divided into 2 phases. The first phase is estimated to be complete in 2026, before the start of the 2028 Olympics, while phase 2 will take place after the games are over. In addition, the first phase will cost between $30 and $35 million, while the second phase will be between $45 and $50 million. The sign was just one part of the refurbishment attempt. The minor project within the first phase includes the overhaul of the sound system in the seating bowl, which hasn't been updated since the 90s, adding the safe standing section on the east side for Bruin students, upgrading the cellular services, building a new field level club in the south end zone, which will be the first field level premium at the historic stadium, as well as improving the gas and water infrastructure within the stadium. As for Phase 2, the San Gabriel Valley Tribune said, Phase 2, with an estimated cost of around $45 to $50 million, will begin shortly after the Olympics. Planned projects include significant improvements to the bowl seating and the installation of the new state-of-the-art video board. Now, to fund these projects, the Rose Bowl Legacy Foundation completed its fundraising campaign titled Lasting Legacy. The fundraiser was a massive success because 6 of the 8 elements from Phase 1 had been paid for. In addition to that, 3 of them have already been completed. They include the safe standing area for the students on the east side of the bowl with 8 rows of seats behind the opposing team's bench, the installation of a new sound system, and the refurbishment of the Rose Bowl sign. But while these refurbishments are being made, the Rose Bowl needs to host a new campaign and find a way to generate another $45 to $50 million needed to fund Phase 2 of the refurbishment, which is set to start shortly after the end of the 2028 Olympic Games and be complete by the end of 2029. The biggest project in Phase 2 will give spectators an additional 4 to 6 inches of legroom. Some of the sections will also be cut down from 60 seats wide to about half of that. So now you don't have to say sorry and excuse me 30 times. To make room for the wider seats, from 27 inches to somewhere between 31 and 33 inches, the construction company plans to put over the historic concrete with a protective overlay and then build the wider seats on top. This will reduce the capacity of the stadium from 89,000 to 72,000, but it will improve the fan experience. For now, the field club right behind the south end zone remains the hallmark project of the first phase. Now, before they started building the field club, the Rose Bowl stadium officials looked at what kind of club seating other stadiums across the country offered. The one that caught their eye was the club seating at Camp Randall Stadium at the University of Wisconsin. Inspired by this field club, they designed theirs with a bar, different food options, and club seats. And when you buy tickets, you're not just getting a seat, you're getting an in-game tailgate environment behind the end zone. But that's the beauty of this field club. The project is scheduled to be completed by the fall of 2026, and no delays are expected because the project is fully funded. But to do this, they'll need to take out all the space under the seating up to Road 28. This will be turned into an indoor-outdoor socialization space during events and the addition of 800 club seats. As Daydan Brozino, the president of the Rose Bowl Legacy Foundation, put it, you see a lot of middle-aged parents with grown kids in these spaces and young alumni. It's a much more sociable space. So maybe you're not watching every play, you're watching one out of every 4 plays while your kids and your spouses and friends hang out together. Plus, when they upgrade this area, it will make major performers like Coldplay, the Rolling Stones or U2 more willing to book concerts there because it allows them to take the stage in an epic way. Plus, when a relatively smaller show, with around 18,000 fans or less, come to the Rose Bowl, the operators can put the stage in such a way that it faces this club area, while the San Gabriel Mountains create a breathtaking backdrop in the distance. This way, they can create a venue within a venue. This element isn't about seating, but about standing. Right behind the visiting team's bench, there's now a safe standing area for UCLA students where 8 rows of seats are reserved for approximately 2,000 students on a first-come, first-served basis. The students can lean on removable linings installed recently. Plus, this entire area is directly in line with the TV cameras. Now, most of the conferences don't allow for this positioning, but the Big Ten does. Now, bear in mind they need to preserve every aspect of this stadium because it's such a historic landmark. This makes the renovation job much more difficult, but not impossible. After all, the Rose Bowl must keep its iconic rake. So, which of the renovation projects do you like the most, and which ones do you hate? Tell us in the comments down below. Now, here's another video mega project enthusiast enjoyed watching. Bye for now.